Hey YouTube. Way back in September of 2011, Apesoft brought us iDensity, and I had no idea what the hell to do with it. It was this single-track granular synthesizer that it was kind of interesting, but I didn't know what the hell to do with it. It has grown so much in the last 5 years, though, so I thought it deserved a second look, and we're going to look at it hard. I've got 6 different tracks loaded up. I'll play them for you in an ungranulated way. I've got the ending percussion for Alt J's Gospel of John Hurt, which is kind of fun plinking thing. I've got the intro to Goldfrapp's Human. I've got the beginning for Megadeth's Mastermind. Great. Love the way the bass sounds too. The bass. It's so good. I love that. And the bass from Rage Against the Machine's Bullet in the Head. And some of my own stuff. I've got something I did with zero input mixing through a whole bunch of AUFX apps, and got this sound. So that's interesting. And fans of Doubting Thomas will get this reference, and maybe fans of 1930s cartoons. I recorded this myself.
All hate me. How they hate me.
Crazy nursery rhyme.
The way they hate me. Always have a pin at hand. That's the reason I am Pan.
That's a little quiet.
I stop them.
You'll hear more of that as I play around in this. Fortunately, there's a mixer, so I can bring everything into alignment. But so I've got all of those tracks laid out in these 6 grid spaces here. So up here is the Megadeth. And let's start with that. That seems fun. If you hit a track number, it takes you to this bigger screen where you all these great controls over things. And let's start getting granular with this. The density gives you more and more grains. So you can do like a random thing here where it's giving us a random amount of grains. And we can play with the pitch. Or randomly screw with that pitch. And now it's getting a little quiet, so I'm going to... But we could normalize it. We can... Whoa. I'm just going to widen it. Still think it's a little quiet, so I'm going to just use the mixer here. And it's getting a little too crazy, so I'm going to bring down the randomness of the density. And maybe just have like a little snippet of things instead of having it play the whole thing. So as you hear, that's all the grains and stuff in this tiny little thing. We got this sort of tweaked to a way that I'm liking it. So let's move on to another section here, and we'll come back to that and put them all together. So let's listen to our second one, which was the Rage Against the Machine. Once again, this is really quiet. Oops. Bring that up. This is our bass, so I don't want it to have a lot of width. I'm going to bring it down. If you can play with the speed of playback with the scanning. So at 1, it's playing back forward at its usual speed, and you can tweak that even further if you link it to the BPM up here, which can be able to link synced. Now, the pitch has gotten a little too low on this because I've slowed it down so much. I can re-pitch it up a little bit. That's still a little too crazy. I'm gonna have to speed it up just a little bit. Oh yeah, okay, so right there I just increased the size of the thing with the length. See how the green borders expand? And with it really far out, it's getting all of the timbre of that bass sound. It's still a little too slow. I think I'm gonna put it back to pretty close to its original speed. Alright, so it's close to its original speed, but it's still a little bit slower. And now I'm going to play around with the pitch a little bit. Alright, that's the music. We'll come back to that. Let's move on to the next part here. Haunting strings here. Let's see what we can do with this. One thing that I haven't explored yet is the effects section. And there's this delay, which is going to sound really amusing on these strings. I don't even have to tweak that. Like, that's great. Let's leave that as is and go back into this. And actually, I'm going to show you that section in the next bit. Let's see if we can get some greater variety in with using the grains to give us some extra timbres that aren't present right now. So I'm just playing with this right. There's no logic to it. I'm just kind of listening to how changing this is affecting things, and honestly not by very much. So let's play with this length again here. Now, there's one other section here that can sometimes get a little crazy, and that's the jitter, where it's going to change not just the playback rate, but it'll jump back and forth across. So that in some instances that can just sound too muddy, but in this case I think that's going to actually sound really cool. So let's see what happens here. And that was serendipitous. I had no idea it was going to be that cool. That adds a whole extra layer of haunting to it. Oh my god, okay, that's done. Let's move on. I'm actually going to leave that running around in the background. I'm going to pull it down just a little bit. That's what I want. Oh no, 3. Let's leave that in the background as I work on the next one here. So these were the percussive sounds, and that does need to come back up a bit. And this, I don't want it to be doing its regular thing at all. Like, I want this to be just random percussion sounds that will hopefully be interesting. You know what, the strings are a little distracting. Let me just get rid of that so we can listen to this on its own. That trick I was doing before would just increase the density. You know, we want more density in our iDensity. that's not working too well here. It's getting a little too rough for percussion. So this really needs to be greatly amplified. That's kind of interesting. I think I can work with that, like refine that a little bit. What happens if we go crazy with that? Nothing good. All right. Let's see if lowering the speed will make that more interesting. So in here we've got different envelopes for how it's playing the individual grain slices, and we can screw around with that. Like, this is, I knew this was going to be kind of messy because it's giving you like this attack that's like super up here right into your release, so there's no slope, whereas before it was on something like this where it's going up and down, and you can play with it. You can have it doing the up and down but still a little dirty. Or you can get crazy with it and just make it super dirty. That has produced an interesting result. I kind of want to tweak that down a little bit, though. Like, I don't know if I can. The easiest thing to try is lowering the volume here and see if that makes it any better. Nah, it's just a little too weird. Let's see, what was I liking? We'll leave it on that because it does have some of that interesting. I don't want to call it phasey because it's not really phasey, but the phase of the amplitude is being fucked up deliberately here, so it's giving us those glitchy kind of. So I'm not liking the way that the pitch is sounding on this, though. Let me try reducing the jitter just a little bit. That is some percussive sounds that are kind of interesting. I'm not sure if that's going to make it into the final here, but we did that. Let me now get into this nursery rhyme here.
That's the reason I am Pan. How I stop 'em when I pop 'em.
Like my Pee Wee Herman laugh. That's a reference to where this sample came from, but
tickles me
it's
the
going to take way too long to explain it all, so it's not
always
going to make any sense to anybody.
That's the reason I am
So
Pan.
that's a sample of me. Let's screw with that. Let's really get crazy with this.
When I pop 'em.
So,
folks all hate me. How they hate me tickles me the way they hate
trying to
me.
decide where to start.
Always
Let's
have
start
a
with the
pin
jitter,
at
because that's been
hand.
pretty
That's
amazing.
the reason I am Pan.
How I stop 'em when I pop 'em. Folks all hate me. How they hate me tickles me the way they hate me. Always have a pin in hand. That's the reason I am Pan. How I stop 'em when I pop 'em. Folks all hate me. How they hate me tickles me the way they hate me. Always have a pen in hand. That's the reason I am
set kind of the basic idea of how that's wobbling and what it sounded like, but now I want it to take that and go crazy with the pitch, just all over the place.
Hate me, tickles me the way they hate me. Always have a pen in hand. That's the reason I am Pan. How I stop 'em when I pop 'em. Folks all hate me. How they hate me. Tickles me the way they hate me. Always have a pen in hand.
Yeah,
That's the reason I am Pan.
it's better without the effects.
Stop 'em when I pop 'em. Folks all hate me. How they hate me. Tickles me the way they hate me. Oh, pen in hand. That's the reason I am Pan. How I stop 'em.
Usually at this point in the video, I'd be talking about what I'm doing, but honestly, I'm just hitting dice randomly and hoping for the best, because that's the way you have to approach this. I got a kind of a general idea of what I want it to sound like in my head, but making that happen in this is a little less deliberate than I'd hoped. But it is making some really cool sounds. I'm liking this.
I stop 'em when I pop 'em. Folks all hate me. How they hate me. Tickles me the way they hate me. Always have a pen in hand. That's the reason I am Pan. How I stop 'em
Maximizing that is
when I pop 'em.
not really that noticeable.
Folks all hate me. How they hate me. Tickles me the way they hate me. Always have a pen in hand. That's the reason I am Pan. How I stop 'em when I pop 'em.
That sounds fucking psychotic.
Folks all hate me. How they hate me. Tickles me the way they hate me.
So that's interesting. Let's move on now. We've got this last bit that I got from doing the zero input mixing in AUFX. Also needs some reason. A lot. So that's already got some very interesting qualities to it. Let's see what I can do with it. I like the playback speed. I like the pitch, but I think that maybe screwing with that a little bit is going to be interesting. Just a little bit. Yeah, let's see what playing with the iDensity does. That like really doesn't need a lot of screwing around with. It was already kind of weird to start off with. Can play with the jitter just a little bit, I think. And this might also benefit from the delay. Let's hear that sounds. It's a little busy with all the feedback. Let's hear that without. That's not bad. I like that. So let's try to mix this all together now. Am I not hearing too? Well, Wow, it's just super quiet compared to everything else. That's still really quiet. And I've maxed that out. Kind of pushing that off to its own lonesome over there. And bring in... this and put it off to its own side. That one's just not fitting well with everything else, so I'm gonna give that one a pass. And let's bring in nursery rhyme. So, this is weird, and I'll be the first to admit it. But I'm liking the way this sounds. Like it's amusing. I don't know what else to tell you. It's just sound design for the purpose of sound design. Well, I've enjoyed this, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed this too. Thank you very much to all my Patreon patrons who make these videos possible, even if they're fucking weird like this. Take it easy, folks. This is the master ADSR. Switching that around to hopefully give it a little bit more of a bassy pluck feel, kind of maybe. Oh yeah. Let's ARP this shit. All right, that's pretty good. Let's see how this blends with the synthesis elements. This tail is just a little too long on this. Let's hear them together. That's really good.